Right, people, good evening and welcome to my 132nd broadcast. And guess who is in the studio with me once again? I have Ruxandra Visoiu joining me for the third time. And today we're going to be talking about legally protecting your business during a crisis. So we are live from Bucharest, Romania. I'm Yoran coming to you live and welcoming Ruxandra on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Yeah, I'm the third time on the show. Wow, it's crazy. Yeah, I thought it was the second, but no, you're right. The first one I was remotely. Yeah, just yeah.
You were with us remote. Yeah, you
Yeah.
were from Zoom, and that's how we connected for the first time. Obviously, you didn't know who I was. So, okay, let's take it easy. He's not even Romanian, so we got to be careful.
Oh no, I'm not like that. No, I work with foreigners, expats all the time. But yeah, I understand why people would think that sometimes. Yeah, we're.
Anyway, so yeah, I understand that we are going to be talking about legally protecting your business. So I understand. Till we get people to come and join in with us, Ruxandra, give us a short kind of a background about you. I understand that you are a lawyer, an advocate, and also a co-founder of R&R Partners Bucharest.
Yeah, sure. Yes, I'm a lawyer. I'm a member of the Bucharest Bar Association, and after working in corporate law for a few years, I decided to go solo, but not really solo. Like I went on my own journey, but I co-founded with Remus, my then boyfriend, now husband, this company R&R Partners. Yeah, I was fortunate enough that we were both in the same field, and he was working for a corporation then as well, and I didn't feel like going at a job from 9 to 9 each day. No, it wasn't 9 to 5. No, that would have been fun and cool, but no. In corporate world, like in the lawyers world, we mostly work from 9 until 8 or 9 in the evening. I also did hours like. The most I got from the office, I think it was 3 a.m., but we had a signing, so we have that stuff as well. Yeah.
What is the signing?
A signing means that...
A signing, okay.
Yeah, when you have a transaction, like for example, when a company buys another company, then you have a big signing at the office, you have people from the banks coming in, you have lawyers from both parties, you have the notary, and everybody's there running around. It's crazy. And I was so little at the time. I think it was in my first year of lawyering, and I was there like I didn't have much of a role, but I was running around with papers because people kept on telling me to do stuff, like small stuff. And I left at 3 in the morning, but I think they stayed even later. So that's how corporate world is. Now it's not the same because we wanted a bit of work-life balance. I mean, I felt that I could not go like this forever. But having a job in a corporation helps you to meet very interesting people, like see practices that are good for you as an entrepreneur. And for me, being a legal entrepreneur, I think it was great that I had this background. So I started this company, and I mostly do commercial law. That's what we'll talk about, companies and the legal aspects of owning a company, and also immigration law, because that came more of a necessity on the market. We had many friends and people coming to us for legal advice who were foreigners and expats in Romania, in Bucharest. Mostly because I think we were like some of the few lawyers that they knew who also spoke English quite well. We have this problem on the legal market. They do not teach you English in school. Like you are under the impression that you learn Romanian law because you're in Romania, whatever. You cannot go anywhere with that law. So you do not need to practice your English that much. And many of my colleagues are, let's say, a bit rusty with their English. And I was fortunate enough that... I had an advantage. It's very good to have an advantage on any market. Yeah.
Well, I think so. That's what kind of differentiates you, and maybe that's how maybe you get the expat community reaching out to you as well.
Yeah, and also being like very client oriented, because many people came to us who were to lawyers before and they didn't answer their calls, their emails, they just vanished sometimes after getting the money. I mean, these are stuff that I mean, for us, it's quite, I don't feel comfortable that colleagues are doing this, but we're also very fair to clients and transparent. And I think that helped. Like we got off really easily, and we slowly built it.
That is fantastic. Like Ruxandra has keep saying, first friendship and then business. So this is the third time. If you guys want to go through the previous broadcast that we have done together, we started off with immigration laws for the expats in Romania. Then we went on to starting a business for expats and commercial law. And the last broadcast that I had was with your husband, Remus.
Yeah, with Remus, yeah.
And we spoke about citizenship. Right, thank you.
Yeah.
We spoke about citizenship. So if you want to go through those broadcasts, you can definitely go through my page on your RAN Alive and you'll find that. And definitely if you want to reach out to Ruxandra or to Remus on any legal matters, and at the moment as we are live, definitely take that advantage. Write your questions down on the broadcast, on the live chat, and we will try to see if Ruxandra can answer you immediately. If not, I know through the experience that I have with both of them, she will definitely reach out to you personally later on. So Ruxandra, how would you like to start off this topic on protecting a business? So,
sure. I would first of all like to say that everything that we will discuss today is very relevant in today's market with this COVID thing, because when I first thought of the topic, like, it was even worse. Now things are slowly picking up. You can go out to terraces. Like, you feel that your world is slowly going back to normal, but there are still some things that I think we will feel later. Like the economical impact, I think, will continue to be felt. And we have many clients. Like, that's what I thought of the topic. We have many clients who came to us with the same specific questions and the same problems. So I think it's better to make them, in a talk, like, so everybody can benefit from this, because there are things that keep on repeating. Mainly,
So what would be that? What would be that question? As you said, some of the topics keep repeating. So are there some common questions that people are concerned with?
Yeah, there are some things. This was more during the period when you couldn't work at all, but I will still refer to it. What do I do with my lease contracts? Because there are many companies who either suspended their work for a bit because they cannot work. Like, for example, we had people in the food and beverage industries who could not keep their businesses, not even with terraces. For example, they did not have terraces, or they sold stuff and you couldn't do it during that time. And they said, okay, what do I do with the lease contracts? Can I suspend them? Can I keep them and get a smaller rent? And this kept on repeating. I think we made so many notices for owners, for the rent, because people were unable to pay the rent if you don't have revenue. I mean, it's really hard. Rent is one of the most important costs for owning a business.
Absolutely.
And also when it comes to employees, because if you have employees, then again it's most probably a very large cost. And what do you do with your employees? Again, what will happen to them? And I will refer to the rent thing first. There's such a thing called as forța majoră, force majeure. It's a thing that is in many types of law. When something bad happens, for example, when you have maybe a war or a natural phenomenon and you can no longer do business, then normally you should suspend your obligations. So, for example, if this pandemic comes and I can no longer import a special product from China because the borders are closed, nobody can be crazy enough to think that I can supplement that product from somewhere else. It's just impossible. Objectively, it's impossible. And the problem is that government and rent were not regulated in any way, because when it comes to stuff that you have to pay, for example, rent is something that you have to pay out of your pocket, they say, like, okay, you can get the money from somewhere else. And that was really bad, because you had many businesses who could not ask to suspend the rent. It was impossible.
So you're talking about the current situation that happened this year.
Yeah, exactly.
So what does a person do in such a case?
What we recommended, and it worked very well, like, if you have a place that is leased and you can no longer do business there, people usually just send a notice. Like, first of all, you send a notice to your owner and say that you want to suspend the activity according to force majeure. Even if the law is a bit flexible on that, you can say, okay, we have a pandemic which identifies as force majeure, and because I can no longer do business, then I should not pay the rent for a period of time. Or if that does not work, at least give me one rent free, for example, or two rent free, and then I will come back to pay you when this thing is over. Or you can ask for the rent to be a little lower, and that work. Like each of those cases have worked for clients for us. So yeah.
Well, what about the other side of the table? Right?
Yeah,
Is
owners.
there a way? So what does the owner do? Is there a way that the government? I'm sorry, maybe this is not
Yeah,
your
no,
forte,
it's fine. No,
I was
please.
just trying to see if you had maybe a perspective
Sure.
on this, on answering. Like,
Yeah.
what does the owner do at that point?
Yeah, it's quite bad. I'll give you the example of shopping malls. Maybe you heard that shopping malls like close
They're
completely.
completely down.
Yeah,
Absolutely
and that's
closed.
their
Yeah.
business.
No shopping for.
Yeah, no
How
shopping.
are you surviving, Ruxandra?
Well, now they actually open shopping malls. Now I survived. I think online shopping is fine, but
Yeah, I'm
during
kidding,
the
right?
pandemic,
But,
what can you wear? Like stuff in the house. Come
Yeah,
on.
exactly. You don't. Fantastic perspective.
Yeah, you do not need much.
I should come speak to my wife regarding this.
Oh.
Educate her a little.
Okay, she
I'm
did
just
some
kidding.
shopping. I understand. Yeah. Yeah, well, the malls have opened now, but it was a very big situation. Like the malls kept on asking rent, and you can actually end up closing a business because you cannot pay your rent.
Of
That's
course.
what happens. Yeah, when the owner is in this situation, what I would recommend is that they try to negotiate. This is something that is all around the crisis situation. Try to negotiate and end up in a position when both of you win at some point, because you making the other business go into bankruptcy because they cannot pay stuff to you.
You're right.
Either if you are the owner of the place they lease, or a provider of services, or maybe you're the one who sells products to them and they resell. In every situation, you should first and foremost try to negotiate, because this is something that happens when people are very stressed, like do not know in a pandemic what will happen tomorrow. They tend to be very, conservative and try to get the most out of the other person. And we're not in that situation that we should ask from the other person to give us everything. We should try to be in a position that is good for both of us, because we're
Right.
collaborators to some point.
So the point here, what you're
Yeah.
trying to say is, you basically need to take that step and actually go and talk to the owner, and whether decide if he's giving you the months off,
Yeah.
like you don't need to pay, or he's giving you something at a half price or something.
Yeah,
There's no law as such that says
There's no law, no.
that you have to pay or you don't have to pay during such times.
Yeah, there was a law, but only for specific services. Because, for example, me as a lawyer during the pandemic, I was supposed to be open all the time, even remotely, because it was considered some sort of public service. Notaries, for example, public notaries, the same.
Right.
And we had a law, especially for us, which was quite unfair, that we could pay the rent a bit later. Actually, my landlady, when I offered to pay the rent on time, she was like, "Oh my God, you're such a sweetheart!" Like she did not expect it. Yeah, but that's how it is. Like if you are like a normal business, there's nothing that helps you that much. And another problem that we find quite often is, what do I do with my employees, as I mentioned? And for this, we already know, people know that technical unemployment was a huge thing. Like you could pay people like 75% of a medium salary from the state, and that helped a lot of companies. It was like great. And the only problem is that if you are self-employed, in the sense that you have the own company on your name, this is another question that we got over and over again. If I have a PFA, a PFA, like a sole entrepreneurship, or maybe an SRL, like a limited liability company in Romania, but I'm not employed, like what do I do? And the problem is that you cannot go on technical unemployment there. Like, for example, lawyers can again go on technical unemployment. It's something special for us, but the sum is very low. Like you cannot do much with it. It's even lower than for regular persons.
You're talking the sum
that you get from the state, the wages. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
It's like 75% of the minimum salary for us, so it's like really low. But yeah, you cannot do much. Like you cannot ask the state to pay your wages in that situation. But if you have employees and you plan on keeping them, because technical unemployment is something that keeps keeps you the employees, like they're still at your place.
Right.
They are not staying home for nothing. They are just suspended for a bit and they receive money, because otherwise you can end up with people, I don't know, going abroad to work after this is over, or going to another company with your same in your same industry. But this way you also keep your people. They are also, you know, somehow more comfortable that they have a place to go after all this is over, and that way everybody wins.
Everybody is ending up to being a winner. So we are live with Ruxandra Visoiu from R&R Partners Bucharest. If any of you have any kind of questions or queries on how to take care of your business during these difficult times, definitely pop in that question in the chat and ask this beautiful lady your query and question, and I'm sure she'll get back to you regarding it. So let me just have a look. So far we don't have any.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
We don't have a question so far. So if there is, please write it in. We would definitely like to take up questions as well. I don't know. So is there any kind of benefits that the business gets from the Romanian state? I mean, I think we did speak on a bit on that.
Like besides technical unemployment, which is very, very important for this, each company owner should speak to their accountant especially, or their HR specialist, like the human resources specialist, because they know best. What we talk today, maybe tomorrow will no longer be applicable. So the legislation is changing very, very quickly. Like this whole situation is very, unsteady.
Unstable.
Yeah, and you should also take care of stuff like day to day. It's not very predictable. Besides that, there are also some loans that companies can get. IMM loans, IMM Invest. Yeah.
How do you say it?
IMM.
IMM.
IMM. Yeah, so you can just search it on the internet. For this, you can also talk to your banker, like the people who take care of your finances in your bank, because they know the conditions better. Like there are some forms that have to fill in, because it's not really my field. I don't know the exact forms and conditions, but I hear that they can be quite okay, and I heard some companies who got the loans, so it can help you like get over this. And I think there are zero interest loans, which is very helpful. Like you do not have to give much back.
Right.
Yeah, the whole idea is just to help small businesses to get over this difficult period of time, and not for the state to get rich from this. Like that's not the point. They just want to help the economy, because businesses are the ones who pay back to the state in taxes and so on.
Yeah, as we proceed, that's I suppose that's how things are.
Yeah, exactly.
There was another point that we were trying to I was trying to understand about signing contracts remotely.
Yeah, sure.
Is it possible to do that, or how does it work in that?
Yeah, we actually did. That reminds me, we also started a YouTube channel. I don't know if I talked to you about this. Yeah.
Yes, I have seen your videos.
Yeah, you've seen them.
So you should definitely check them out.
Yeah.
I know that there were 3 of them. How many do you have now?
We already have 5 or 6, because we have them every week. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, we have them every week, and we did a video on electronic signature, because we had questions popping all over again, and we just sent the video to people. Like, okay, you can see it here. If you have any questions, you can come in for a consultation.
So
but
are people? Oh, consultation means they gotta basically pay you to see.
Yeah,
right?
if their free content is not enough, like if of course you do not get the answers, or if it's not like a small thing, like you need to elaborate on that, they can come in. But if not, they can find a lot of free content on our YouTube channel, and even our blog. We have a lot of content there, articles. So
you should definitely share with me the name of your blog as well.
Yeah, sure.
And maybe on this broadcast, Ruxandra, what I will do is I will also share with them your YouTube channel.
Oh,
so
thank you so much.
Go through your videos.
Yeah, I just forget about it. Usually when I talk to people and they ask me what do you do, I always forget to speak about the YouTube channel. It's a thing that we did during the pandemic, because we had more free time and we wanted to do this like for so long. But now we had time. And we did on the YouTube channel a video about electronic signature. But generally, when you want to sign a contract remotely, because we were in this situation like a lot during the pandemic, you had to sign contracts with people who are not at the same table at the same time, how usually are. Like you ask people to come to your office or you
Right,
go to
right.
their office, you sign, each of the parties has a counterpart, and then you just
Have
leave.
a coffee. No.
Yeah, have a coffee, a tea, or
Something.
iced tea, whatever.
You see, not everybody is as friendly as Ruxandra and Ramos. So
Oh, come on. Yeah, tea and coffee at the office are quite good, so yeah, definitely.
what is the brand? Can we speak it up on the road?
Yeah, we had different brands. Last time we had it from Starbucks, but it was quite, I don't know, it was a hard coffee. It's, yeah, strong coffee, yeah.
Just for the lawyers.
Yeah, like,
To start their day great.
yeah, our colleague Irina was something like, oh my god, my heart is starting to pound from the coffee. It was quite funny.
Okay.
Yeah, and about signing the contracts,
Yes,
usually, no, it's not sorry. It's good to talk about coffee. It's
Coffee
also
as well,
fine. When you sign a contract, usually it's like this: you are at the same table, you sign the contract, and everybody goes home afterwards.
Right.
But when you have to sign remotely, usually you cannot meet with that person. Either they are, like in this case, maybe they are quarantining, or for the sake of everybody, they try to work from home as much as possible, so you do not go to their office. Yeah, what you can do is basically you have two main ways to sign it remotely. Either the most I say the intermediate way. You send the contract, the other party just prints it. You actually sign it, and then you scan it and send it back. So that is not the most technical way to do it, but it is possible. Like, the contract is valid because I say something, you say something, we meet together, we sign the contract, but it's electronically.
Okay.
But the best way to do it, although not many people do that, is to do it with electronic signature. Electronic signature is something very interesting. It's a little token that you can put into the USB port of your laptop, of your computer.
Okay.
And it's just a little program. When you have a document, especially a PDF document, like an Adobe one, you just take the document and you put the signature at the end of the document with the electronic signature. And it's very secure. That way you know who signed it. If anything happens later, you can say, okay, I have proof that you actually signed it. If you just have, the scan from the computer, they can say, oh, I didn't sign it, it was my secretary, or it was my colleague. Like, it's harder to demonstrate.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Ask me, please. I think I confused you with the electronic signature.
No, it's great. So I've never done this before,
Yeah.
right? So I'm trying to understand. So what are you buying? You're going to the store and you're buying what?
You buy an electronic certificate, because not everybody
That's what
can
it's
sell.
called?
Yeah, it's an electronic certificate.
I see. And you get it in every electronic store?
No, no.
Oh, okay.
You have providers. For example, we work with Alpha Sign. This is not sponsored, guys, but yeah, those guys are great.
You can still sponsor.
Yeah,
It would help.
It would help, right? Yeah, Alpha Sign, ALFA Sign is just a company like any other. There are more companies on the market. You go to them and you say, okay, I want an electronic signature, and they ask from you. You have your ID, you have your details on the company if you want an invoice on the company, and basically this electronic signature knows your information. For example, my electronic signature says that this was signed by Ruxandra Visoiu, and behind that, if you go into it, you can know my date of birth, for example, like extra stuff, so you can know it's me. It's not another Ruxandra.
But
it doesn't show on the electronic. It's just a scribble, and if somebody were to check it before, they would see, for example, my CNP, but not the person that is actually receiving the document. It's just if they went to Alpha Sign.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I'm getting into details about this.
Yeah, sorry.
No, because I'm just trying to understand. Now, let's say I have a document.
Yeah, sure.
Who has this electronic signature? Or is it say you take a printout, right?
Yeah.
And how have you signed it? With a
No,
moving mouse, or just let's say Joran Rafael Ruben?
Yeah.
And now how do we know if it is
It's a PDF document. You do not print it. Like,
Okay.
if I were, like, I got the document
Yeah.
now, and if I opened it, I can see that it has the electronic signature in the corner. Yeah. So it's totally electronic. Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
I am trying to understand. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
really
So it
hard.
actually shows all the details of that person who has signed
basically,
it.
yeah,
So
something.
if I have to sign the document, do I also need to have this electronic token, or I can do it through yours?
Yeah.
How does it work?
It's like this. Usually, we used to work with the electronic signature even before the corona because we had to upload documents to the trade registry. For example, when we incorporate, when we set up companies, we do that remotely. We have done it remotely since forever. And when you upload documents, you need that electronic signature because the person at the trade registry never sees the original. So me, Ruxandra Visoiu, should show that, yeah, we have an original somewhere, and it's just my responsibility that the document is indeed the right one. And they just see it on their computer. They download it on their email, and yeah, that's what it says. It's electronic. And if you want to have it, you should talk to some guys. It's like 50 euros per year or something. It's not much, but we use it also for court. And even if you are, for example, in the position that, I don't know, you as a physical person, you had an issue with the neighbor because they took your parking space, something like that.
Okay.
And you have to file a document to the local authorities. Yeah, and you do not want to stand in line. You can get an electronic signature, and with that signature, just email them the document. And there's a recent law that says that public authorities are, it's mandatory for them to receive your document with electronic signature and then answer to you. So it's even safer than going in person somehow.
Hey, fantastic. So if I ever need an electronic signature, I'm going to ask her because I'm still kind of understanding the terms and stuff. But thank you so much for going off topic and telling me a little bit more about this.
Yeah, we were a bit off topic, yeah.
So I'm with Ruxandra Visoiu live on the broadcast today, and we're talking about legally protecting your business during your crisis. If you all have any kind of questions, definitely take the advantage of the live chat of the broadcast and write in your questions. Ruxandra, so far it's just you and me.
Yeah, it's fine. No, it's okay. We're good.
So we kind of spoke about what a person that is going through a difficult time with the business. What about if is it possible to somehow freeze the business completely for a particular period?
They can. It's suspending the business, which is very useful if you don't want to like totally close the business, like maybe you want to take a break because the industry is not going very well, like you see you have, for example, corona, and you cannot do your business. Then you can do that. You can suspend it for a maximum of 3 years, so that you have a cap. You cannot do it forever.
I see.
And after those 3 years, you can either decide to close it or to reopen it.
Now, does it matter if it is PFA, CRLA, or
CRLA you can suspend it for sure. For PFA, I do not really remember, to be totally honest, but I think it's something similar with the PFA as well for suspension. Yeah. Mostly people suspend CRLA because it has more cost. For example, you have an accountant, you have to pay. It's usually more of a burden. Yeah, right? PFA can also have employees. You can have employees on your PFA. But usually bigger businesses are CRLA, and PFA are more, smaller businesses generally. But it's not really a rule. And when you suspend it, you just do not file for taxes for a period of time. You do not pay your taxes. Maybe you can pay your accountant because he does stuff at the end of the year. You have some what we call bilans, like some situations, like financial situations, and they have to do that. It's not something that you can get out of. Yeah. So
what would you say would be the minimum expenditure that would require for a company that is frozen, or after somebody freezes his business?
It depends on the size of the company, but you can go very close to zero, I guess, because if, for example, you do not have a place that you rented, you do not have employees that you have to pay in that period of time, and you just pay your accountant, maybe, I have no idea how much an accountant charges just for this bilance, like at the end of the year, but it cannot be more than 100 euro or, I don't know, 50 euros or something, because the bilance will say zero. So it can be close to zero, like the costs. It's a very good situation, but many people ask if they continue this suspension thing, and I also tell them that no, that is something that they don't know. Like, can I suspend it for more than 3 years? That's never a solution. So that's the maximum amount.
That's the maximum amount of time. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we have closed the company. Let's say we want to get it back, right? Or we want to start the business again.
Yeah.
Are there any penalties that the company needs to pay at this point?
No, No, there are no penalties. You just have to go to the trade registry, like the institution that takes care of registering companies, and just file for reopening the company. It's a form that you must do, and of course, if you want to change stuff on the company, like maybe, for example, you do not have the same headquarters, or maybe you have another administrator, another associate, like somebody joined you in the company, you can also file to change those things at the same time. And also be very careful if you close your company and your headquarters are not valid. For example, if you had a place that was leased for a year, and at the end of the year you just stay a bit longer and you suspend the company, if you close it, you will get a fiscal record. So when you close your company, it's bad. No, it's really bad.
Yeah?
You cannot open another company again.
What does a fiscal record mean?
A fiscal record basically means that you're not a good entrepreneur. You do not take care of your business.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a slap on the wrist.
Because it sounds like fiscal record. Okay, I have a record of this. So that's something good. It sounded something very positive.
No, it's casier fiscal in Romanian. It's quite bad because when you say casier, you think of the judicial record, which is, when you did something bad in the criminal field, a criminal offense.
Okay.
This is a financial offense, so that's how you go. And the record just prevents you from ever opening another company or an NGO again. So if you want to do more stuff in the future, no, you cannot do that.
Damn. And how long is that valid?
Oh my God, it's forever if you do not close your company well, because it's like this. Up until you get that thing fixed, for example, you go to ANAF, to the fiscal authorities, and you fix what you did bad, it's cannot
impossible.
open. Yeah, it's impossible.
Okay, so fix your mistakes.
Yeah, fix your mistake.
And then get back. Can you start your old business after fixing it?
You can in some situations, but it can take up to until 1 year. For example, we have a lady now who is our client, and she had closed the company without having valid headquarters, and now she has to wait for about 6 months, maybe to 1 year, to have the situation fixed, because that's how the fiscal authorities work. They are very slow, and it's a big penalty. She wanted to open another company,
So fiscal, sorry for my ignorance.
Oh,
so
please.
Fiscal authority, ANAF,
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, when I say ANAF, I don't like to use it as much because maybe people who are not familiar with it do not know it. It's fiscal tax authorities, is the same thing. Just do not confuse ANAF with taxe locale. Local taxes is another thing. It's where you pay your taxes for your property, like your house or your car or stuff like that. ANAF is the one you pay money for if you have a business or if you are a freelancer. Yeah, that's how it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was wanting to ask you, now during this time, is there any kind of a story that you would like to share about any of your clients without naming them? Maybe that was maybe a difficult procedure for you, and you kind of went ahead and.
We have many stories. One of the first stories was that we actually had some clients who were really nice. They came from China to Romania. They wanted to live here. And
do you know him? No, right?
No, no, they're actually American. Yeah,
okay.
And they came to Romania, wanted to open a business here and so on, and they had to come back to take their cats because their cats needed passports to travel to Romania.
Yep.
And everything was set in Romania. They got their passports, and the bad thing is that Corona hit again in China. If you maybe you remember from the news, they opened for a while and then it went back again.
Went back to back to normal, as we call it today.
Yeah.
That's me. So sorry.
And they were stuck in China with their cats.
Oh, that's very sad.
Yeah. And we had to figure out the situation to do some stuff remotely for them. That was their case. But we had an actual legal case. Do you know those little plastic things? I don't know if I told you about this before. Little plastic things when you're in the airport and they just rub it on your clothes, on your baggage. There's some plastic.
Sniffers.
Yeah.
Detecting explosives?
Exactly. Everybody thought it was for drugs, including me. It's explosive, exactly.
I kind of know it because I worked 10 years in aviation security.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see. I'm talking to the right person.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I was working with the Israeli airlines.
You call them sniffers?
They're called sniffers, yeah. So
oh my God.
So they're detecting the most microbic size of an explosive presence
Oh.
on you, on your baggage, or
Oh my God, you're the first person with whom I speak about this and like understands from the very beginning,
Yeah.
because it's also very hard to speak about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we our clients were the ones who provided the sniffers to the airport, and it's quite hard to get them and to get the right type. And
you mean the product itself?
yeah, they were importing it somehow. You know, they were
or
not.
or just
Yeah.
the swabs you're talking about?
Yeah, the plastic thing is that actually touch stuff.
Okay.
And yeah,
the swabs, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And they had gone through a procedure. When you want to give stuff to public authorities or even airports, in this case, you have to go through a procedure. You offer a price, they say okay, and that's it. And they ended up in the situation that, you know, that those stuff can be used for up to 20 times or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And nobody thought that Corona would come and you can no longer use stuff like that for multiple people.
Oh, damn.
And imagine,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah. And for example, if you buy, it was more, but if you buy 100 sniffers for 100 lei, and at that point you say, okay, I can no longer use them 20 times. I need 20 more, or how do I do? And they were announced by the airport that they must provide 20 times more the products, which is crazy. It would bankrupt them. Because the contract with the airport said something that if a special situation arises and we have to adjust the our demand, then you have to comply, because we're public and you're private. That's
Right.
about it. And yeah, it was really bad because those guys really could not do that. We ended up doing some negotiations. Everything was online. We could not meet anybody in person because we were like during quarantine. It was the
Right.
worst time of quarantine.
Yeah.
And eventually everything was fine, although we were very scared for these guys for a little while. Everything was fine because people ended up going to the airport like almost nobody was to the airport. Like you had so little people who would fly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the sniffers just were enough to cover the necessary
amount of passengers
amount
that
of
were flowing
yeah.
at the airport. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's I'm glad. So that's a
It's
happy story.
It's a
at
happy
the end.
story, and with the cats, it was also a happy story. Like those guys from the US, because they eventually got the passport for the cats, and they could fly with the cats to Romania. And yeah, now they're living here, so it's good. Everything is fine. And another story. Well, this is not so fun as with the sniffers and the cats, but yeah, we had a lady who was actually we had a therapist. She had her office open up until when Corona hit, because nobody, as many people might know, if you go to a therapist during the pandemic, many of them offered online services because you could not go in person. It was very unsafe. She had to close her office for a while, and the owners of the building where she had her office just kept on demanding rent from her, even if she could not pay, of course.
Right.
Like it was also a high price.
So at this
Yeah.
point, couldn't she, sorry,
Yeah,
at this
sure.
point, couldn't she have frozen the business or something?
Well, even if you freeze your business, the problem is that you sign a contract. They do not care. Like, the freezing your business does not mean that your business no longer exists. It just means that you no longer do activity in your business and you no longer pay taxes. The other stuff
But you
you
still
have
need to pay rent.
you have to figure out yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So these things, the government, as you said,
Yeah.
does not help. You need to
No,
have the
not much.
negotiation with the person who's owning the place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we had to do some notices for her. We explained that the chances are not very big that they will comply. She had already done it herself. Like, she had prepared a very well written notice. Like, I almost congratulated for her. Like, the way she had written it was very logical and very, legal ease. Let's put it like that. And we basically wrote a bigger notice with more articles from the law. Like, we made it to be a bit more stuffy, and lawyers know what to tell you to make you a bit scared, but not in the sense that you are aggressive. Like, okay, if you not receive a positive answer, we will go to the respective courts and something like see you there, see you in court,
Right.
but in a softer way. And it worked because she received a message like a week or something like that after, and they said that they will agree to everything that we asked them. So yeah, it just helped. Although she had written basically the same stuff before, but in softer words, like mostly asking then demanding. So sometimes the tone can do wonders.
So basically, they were asking for rent, and when you all wrote
Yeah.
this legal letter.
Yeah.
They agreed.
Yeah, they agreed, and they gave her what she wanted, which was 1 month or 2 months off the rent, like totally off the rent.
Now,
Yeah.
what was to her advantage that the building people agreed to this?
What? Sorry, what was?
So
to her?
what, like initially, they said we don't care, we want the
Yeah,
money,
sure,
right?
sure, exactly.
She wrote a letter, it didn't help, right? Please help me out. No.
Yeah.
So she came to you. You made a
Yeah.
fantastic legal letter.
Yeah, yeah.
So what was in that letter that made the building people realize that okay, we need to back off, or what? I don't know. What were they concerned about? That
Oh, I understand.
helped her get these 2 months.
Yeah, what usually happens is if you come to a lawyer, we also like we write a letter. Of course, we sign it because that's what we do. We sign it on behalf of the client, and we put a little what we call empowerment delegație avocațială. It's a little piece of paper that shows that we are indeed her lawyer. It's issued by the Bar Association. It looks more formal.
Of course.
But as regards the content of the letter, usually what we do is we make it more organized and we show like everything that happened before, like the situation itself. We put it in little dots, like everything is very, very well prepared. You could use that document even in court, like you can make it a little bigger and use it as a demand in court. You do not need to do much. And you show all the articles from the law that supposedly they had to comply with. In our case, it was a bit stretching it because, yeah, it's really hard to say that the law says what we did. Like, we try to stretch the law. That's what we do. It's what happens. Yeah, sorry guys. You know, lawyers have to be on their client side. Yeah, we stretched it a bit, and yeah, basically we were confident about it, and we also said, that's what I said is very important, and people could see as a threat, that we say that if you do not comply with what we ask, we will basically use this and go to court. Because yeah, we could, like, everybody can go to court for anything, like they could win or they could lose, it's another problem, but not many people want to have a lawsuit on their hands.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think so that kind of made them just relax and say, okay, lady, take a few months off. I suppose, you know, one of my friends, actually I just met her today, and you know her as well. She was saying that sadly, I'm sure there are good sides, but sadly the virus or the pandemic has brought the worst out of us, and everybody is so afraid, and everybody is just it's like everybody is for himself, as if to say.
Oh yeah, I think it is, and it brings the worst out of people. Like, I feel that clients in the last period of time, they're more anxious, and that anxiousness they just throw it up until you. So but it's the same with everybody. Like, even you can be mad on your taxi driver because he doesn't take you too fast, or you can be mad on your accountant because he doesn't answer you the second that you write to him. There are many small stuff, but they amount to too much, and people, I think, they do not know what tomorrow will bring. I think that's the worst that it can bring in people, this uncertainty.
This uncertainty is really scary. Yeah, true. I'm with Ruxandra Visoiu on the broadcast today from Shalom Radio in Romania, Bucharest, and if you'll have any kind of questions regarding legally protecting your business during a crisis, definitely write it in. We're going to be here for a few more minutes, so even though we will not be live forever, the broadcast will still be there. Ruxandra will still be there. You can definitely reach out to them with any kind of questions you have. Initially, you can write in directly to the broadcast, to the chat, and I will see that I redirect them to Ruxandra as well. So Ruxandra, any words of advice that you would like to give people that are, or I would say business owners that are going through this hard time?
Yeah, I think like the most important thing in these times, as I said in the beginning, is just try to negotiate everything. Like, just try not to cut your business partnerships and your relationships basically with other people just because you are stressed. I've seen it so many times. You are stressed. You do not know how to try to go through your business and be very, very, I don't know, flexible and nice about it, because everybody is going through this. You're not the only one. and
Yeah.
as far as you understand it and you're empathetic about it, it will help your business a lot. Like, it might sound very empirical, but it's very like practical advice. I would also ask everybody just to assess their situation very objectively. Like, speak to your lawyer, to your accountant, to whoever you want. Just ask them, what is my situation in this particular case? Like, for example, your accountant can offer great input to see how much money you have on the business, how much you can survive. Like, at some point, maybe you don't want to let people go. The organization is really hard, like letting your employees go. But maybe like having a smaller wage for a longer period of time means you will not go bankrupt. Like, try to objectively go through each situation. And if you have a professional at your side, I think it's easier to go through than doing it by yourself. Not really a lawyer, because we're not like business consultants, but yeah, an accountant, yeah, or
An
even
accountant, okay.
if you have a business consultant or a coach, I don't know, everybody who can just be out of your business and take you out of your head, because it might blow out of your proportion when you think it by yourself, but speaking to another person could help a lot. I've seen it done a million times, and also very, very helpful. Yeah, and just I don't know, remember that everything will pass, because this is the truth, not only in business but in life as well. Like, this will pass at some point, and I think each crisis makes us stronger. If as entrepreneurs you do not go through crisis, I think you do not learn much. So yeah.
I'm seeing a very weird message with your name, and I was thinking, how did it come up there? So that's a very good question. So I don't know from which platform the chat message has come up, but I think I'm just going to read that.
Yeah.
So, hello Ruxandra, was wondering how can I protect my PFA company when working as a freelancer in Romania regarding future legal responsibility for the projects I deliver after I give them to the customer. So this question is from Denmark. Okay, Horsens. Thank you for writing in. Do write in and tell us from where you are even writing in. But thank you, Ruxandra. we don't have an answer to
I
that.
just try to figure out what the exact problem is, because it's quite general. Work as a freelancer in Romania, regarding future legal responsibilities. After I give them to the customer, well, this can mean many things. I don't know if it's related to crisis. If you talk about intellectual property, for example, protecting your PFA, maybe that's what he means. I'm not very sure, because the question is really, really general. Oh, wait, he's typing
So I
something
think
else.
she's so yeah, just kind of clarify the question if you can,
Yeah.
and just rephrase the question so that we
Yeah.
can deeply understand the root of the problem, and then we can take that up and when you do finish completing.
Yeah, because just a little input. If you mean like that happens very often. If you deliver products and you think that you will not be paid on time, for example, that can be an issue. Then you can just say something in the contract that you will not transfer the property, like the legal and the property to the work that you did, the intellectual property, up until you are paid in full. That can be very useful, because if you show, for example, a draft to the client, they can say, okay, I'll just use this draft, I do not pay you the full amount. You say that draft intellectually belongs to me until you pay my full invoice, so that could help.
Right.
If that's the problem that they are thinking about. Otherwise, protect the projects. It can be any project. I'm not very sure what they mean. Yeah, but that's a very good good input. And as regards that, there's a group for Viața de Freelancer in Romania that has also a draft. Maybe you know Claudiu. You spoke to him?
Yes, he was on the show.
Oh, exactly. He was on the show. Yeah.
Claudiu Georgiatu.
Yeah, with Claudiu Georgiatu, we actually made a draft for a contract for freelancers in Romania that is very, very elaborate, but also like right to the point and the most important stuff. And they protect the freelancer a lot. So you can check that out, guys.
So I was trying to understand what was currently her concern. If you can tell us, or did you understand what it was?
No, if it's very general, and if they spoke about protecting your project for intellectual property, like nobody steals your ideas, or you're not paid for your invoice, I think that's the best thing that you can do. Just hold your project, like my intellectual property belongs to me, you cannot use it until you pay. Regarding my legal responsibility, the product, okay, software.
I'll just read it out to the radio. It was regarding my legal responsibility to the customer once I finished it. The product I deliver can be a software package. So I'm still trying to understand. I'm sure she gets it much better than I
If, for example, you mean legal in the sense that it could bring you legal problems because it's not a good product, no idea if that is. Basically, if you're a freelancer and you work based on what the customer has asked you to do, it's not your responsibility what they do with their product later, like for example software. And if the product is not good in any industry, even in software and so on, you have the responsibility, and this will remain forever, very, very well. Yeah.
So Horsens, what I would also like is to tell us if you are a Romanian citizen, if you are living here. I understand that you have a PFA, but I'm also trying to understand working as a freelancer in Romania. So I believe that your company is based also in Romania. I suppose that is. I mean, we would require some details just to get around it, unless you are on call. But remember, we have maybe maximum 5 minutes. The number is 073399 7777. That's 0733997777 if you want to call on the hook. And we could take the call as well.
We also take calls. I forgot that.
We could. I mean, I usually was counting on the fact that people usually write through the broadcast.
Yeah.
But if Horsens wants to write in, that would be great. So Horsens is saying that he is currently on holiday, and he is a Romanian citizen. I have no idea.
No, sorry.
Can you? Sorry for that, but can you move on to the next screen? Let's see what's here.
Still here with
Well, this is not for us, I think.
No. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, good. Thanks.
So yeah. So do continue sending in the message. We are visible to it. Probably we might not be able to answer it right away. But what I would suggest to you, or I will try to get in touch with you through that computer, because I see it's not on the broadcast. So this was something new that popped up, and I saw your name, and I said, okay, I should definitely take that question up. All right.
Great.
Till they write. I don't know. Anything else that you would like to say?
I think we covered it mostly, and yeah, if any of you guys see our recording after and you want to pop in some questions, you can do that in the comments. We can respond to you, especially if in this case Horsens put my name, so that if you tag me in your question, I can see it more quickly and know that it's for me, because otherwise it's just, I might not see it in the event after it is done. But yeah, and then you can also, if you can message me on Messenger, also reply to those messages if it's something on the point, and especially if something about what we discussed today, I will just reply you there, so it's no problem. You can just say you're from the broadcast, and yeah.
Fantastic.
And subscribe to your aunt's live broadcast, because it's very important.
You're very kind,
to keep posted.
So you see, she is more a friend than a businesswoman, and I think that is very, very essential while building those relationships, and also when you want your legal matters to be taken care of. So don't forget, any questions that you might have and you want to reach out, either you can personal message me on my Facebook, The Only You Run. You can write on the live broadcast chat and tag it with Arond or at Ruxandra Visoiu, and she will also see those messages. So Ruxandra, I think I will get back to you with the answer.
Sure.
What other client is wanting to say. I want to appreciate and say thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for
and
the
your
invitation.
patience, and for coming here with your beautiful smile and giving us all the information that we need for today's broadcast.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and yeah, good luck on your future broadcasts.
I totally appreciate it. I'm hoping to have Ruxandra once again on another topic, maybe a similar topic that is of need for the community here. So till then, wishing you and our viewers a fantastic evening. Bună seara, erev tov, and lehitraot, which means see you soon. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.